Subpoenas to James and Hunter Biden coming from Congress of the United States. And we saw James Comer authorize these, but here is the letter and the documents. We got a big redacted paragraph right here, which would include certainly the people who are receiving the document, probably the Biden crime family's lawyers. And they say, hey, dear representatives, or maybe James and Hunter, they say the Committee on the Oversight and Accountability and Judiciary and all of us, we are subpoenaing certain financial records in the possession, control, or custody of so-and-so, and so-and-so, and so-and-so. Okay, these subpoenas are being issued at the bank's request and pursuant to the authority of the chairman on the various committees. They say the committees are seeking records related to Robert Hunter Biden, herein called Hunter Biden, James Biden, and Eric Sherwin. So three individuals, Hunter, James, and Eric of course was a business family associate. As part of its investigation, the Oversight Committee has reviewed bank records of individuals and entities associated with the Biden family as well as other evidence. This review uncovered a pattern of financial complexity, as detailed in the impeachment memoranda, which we looked at previously, and the Oversight Committee's bank memos, which again we've looked at. The Biden family used corporate bank accounts and third-party associates to receive wires from foreign companies and foreign nationals. The Biden business associates then dispersed money to various Biden family members in incremental payments over time. So you'd have the foreign companies would send all the money into one big kind of depository. They'd hang on to the money and then dish it out. Your allowance is this, Hunter. Here's some more money. Last thing you want to do is give Hunter access to a ton of money. Otherwise, he'll spend it on crack and hookers. So while much of this money went to Hunter Biden's professional corporation called Owasco and his other bank accounts, other Biden family members and their companies received significant payments as well. Who are these people? For instance, the Oversight Committee has confirmed that Robinson Walker LLC received payments from foreign companies and individuals and then made payments to Owasco. So they'd go to that company and then to Owasco. Other Hunter Biden bank accounts would get the money. Hallie Biden, JBBSR Inc., another corporate account associated with James Biden, also got paid. The Oversight Committee has traced payments from Burisma and entities related to the CEFC, a Chinese energy company, to the bank accounts of Biden business associates, and then the money was sent to redacted accounts belonging to Hunter Biden. Money was sent to blank accounts belonging to Hunter Biden. All right, we're gonna put a pin in that because Hunter swore to us that he did not take one dime, and he lied to us all about that in the middle of the campaign. In fact, let's just pause right there and hit that segment. Here is what he told us when he was being interviewed about this before the election, lying to us through his teeth to all of America so that they could cover this up and his daddy could get elected.
Of accusations against Hunter Biden? That Hunter flew on Air Force Two with his father during an official government trip to China in 2013, leveraging that connection for financial gain in an investment deal with Chinese businessman Jonathan Lee.
The president has repeatedly said that you received $1.5 billion from China despite no experience and for no apparent reason. Obviously, fact checkers have said that is not true.
Look, this is literally has
Not
no
true.
basis in fact in any way.
Have you received any money from that business dealing?
No.
At all? Not
No.
1 cent?
Not 1 cent.
Definitely not 1.5 billion.
It's crazy. They feel like they have
Not
the
1
license to
cent.
go out and say whatever they want. It feels to me like living in some kind of Alice in Wonderland where you're up on the real world and then you fall down the rabbit hole and, you know, the president's a Cheshire cat asking you questions about crazy things that don't bear any resemblance to the reality of anything that has to do with me. And so here's the answer. No one ever paid me $1.5 billion. And if they had, I would not be doing this interview right now.
Okay, 1.5 billion, that's a lot, right? That's a big number. Maybe it's not 1.5 billion, but he said not 1 cent as he lied to us all. And as ABC sat there and said, well, that's good enough for us, I guess. So they just shut up and they, went back to the election and they said Trump's a monster and guess he's a racist, whatever. So we know that's nonsense. Now, the committees are concerned that Hunter and other Biden family members sought to conceal the source of foreign income by having lucrative wires sent to Biden's associate accounts instead of their own bank accounts and at this bank and elsewhere. We believe these records will provide insight as to where the foreign money was finally sent. On September 12th, Speaker McCarthy directed the committees to open up a formal impeachment inquiry, and we've done that. Now, evidence shows that Joe Biden was at least aware, obviously, of at least some of the family's business ventures and sought to influence potential business deals that financially benefited his family, right? Isn't that something? Like, if a parent does something and their kid gets something from that. Like, isn't that a benefit to a parent? Obviously, you don't have kids, but like if you did something, you did in exchange for that. Like parents sacrifice all the time for their kids, right? And that's a benefit to the parent as well. It's like, man, I don't have to worry about my kid anymore. He's getting paid $83,000 a month from some company. Great. Finally off daddy's payroll, right? Like that's like a benefit to him. So Joe Biden is getting a benefit by exchanging in these brand deals. Like it's just obvious, but anyways, I digress. Indeed, a Biden business associate, Devin Archer, testified how the Biden, quote, brand was used in retaining business. And the Joe met with some foreign nationals who paid his family. It's like, great, which is a benefit to Joe. Accordingly, the committees seek additional information regarding the use and the ultimate destination of these funds given Joe Biden's involvement with the individuals who were paying these companies, and ultimately his family members themselves. The subpoenaed bank records will help the committee determine whether Joe Biden himself abused his office by selling access or by receiving payments or other benefits in exchange for official acts, which is a critical aspect of our inquiry. The records sought by the subpoena will also assist in our efforts to craft legislative solutions aimed at deficiencies that have been identified in the current law involving the immediate family members of elected vice presidents and presidents. Deficiencies that might jeopardize American security. And so these records will help our committee get information critical to address the systemic failure to protect against foreign interactions with senior elected officials. Specifically, we're concerned that foreign nationals and foreign companies like CEFC and Burisma appear to have sought access and influence by engaging in lucrative business relationships with high-profile political and immediate family members. The committees are also concerned about the national security implications about the VP's immediate family member, or president now, receiving millions of dollars from foreign nationals without any oversight. Current disclosure laws and regulations do not require non-dependent family members to provide any information to the public. That's a problem. So meaningful reforms to government ethics and disclosure laws are therefore being explored here in Congress so that we can assess their assets and the financial relationships when this stuff goes down. In particular, we're going to be developing legislation that would strengthen reporting requirements involving foreign transactions so that we don't have problematic disclosures. And we also want to prevent financial transactions from being structured and layered in a way that could evade review, especially for a period of time after they leave office. They say the reason these subpoenas are necessary as well is we're also going to be strengthening the Bank Secrecy Act, provides anti-money laundering tools, and the point of that is to thwart illegal money laundering. In particular, we're evaluating whether SARS reports, the suspicious activity reports, generated by personal or corporate bank accounts that are associated, here it is, with the president or vice president's immediate family members could or should undergo more rigorous banking compliance rules in order to comply with the needs under national security requirements. We aim, says James Comer and Jim Jordan, we aim to draft legislation that provides more transparency to the American people, deters foreign interests from attempting to obtain influence over the highest levels of our government, and discourages family members from profiting from their relatives' public service, making sure our nation is safe from our foreign adversaries. They say, in short, the records sought by these subpoenas are critical to both the impeachment inquiry and to further the committee's purposes. As chairman, we urge you to cooperate speedily and in good faith with these subpoenas, and if you have any questions about it, give us a call and let us know. Sincerely, your friends, James Comer and Jim Jordan, Chairman, Oversight and Accountability, Committee on the Judiciary. So it's hard to see who they were exactly writing to here. Let's see what the subpoenas say. We go down and we see that these puppies got dropped. Here they are. Subpoena by authority of the House of Representatives and Congress. Drafted here that you are hereby commanded to appear before Oversight and Accountability. But who did this go to? It's right here. It's redacted. To redacted. Who is that? Hang on. We're going to continue going down here. Where's the other subpoena? What the heck is going on here? Okay, so I guess they redacted their names off of the subpoenas for some reason, which is a little interesting. That's the good part, man. They redacted the name? What the heck? Why is Hunter Biden's name not right here? Why is that redacted? They told us where they're going. I don't know. All right, so here they say somebody, I'm presuming it's Hunter or James Biden, as they tell us, but I don't know why that's redacted. I mean, they could have redacted the address, but at least let us see the good part, man. The heck is this? They say somebody, I guess, is going to show up and produce things identified here touching matters of inquiry by October 12th. Okay, so produce things identified to the documents attached. Here's the schedule. All right, whatever. Signed by James Comer here. We can't even see who it went to. Says, here's the schedule. In accordance with the attached schedule instructions, the custodian of records of this whatever entity and this entity, so the banks, are these subpoenas to the banks now, or are these subpoenas to the people? Is this why they're being coy about this? Okay, so today issued 3 subpoenas for bank records. But they told us, this is weird, because they told us in the same document that it was for these 3 people. All right, let's see if we can figure this out. Hunter and James Biden, but we saw the 3 names, Eric Sherwin, James Biden, and Hunter Biden. All right, let's go back and just see what they're doing. So here, we get a very lacking feeling subpoena. Here's what they want. All financial records, including but not limited to account statements, records, bank, okay, all the stuff related to these entities. Hunter, Robert Hunter Biden, Owasco LLC, Eric Sherwin, James Biden, Lion Hall LLC. So these 3 subpoenas, I think we were inferring that they went to the 3 individuals, but they might be going to 3 different banks, like this bank. They're not telling us the bank. In accordance with this, the custodian of records of this is required to produce the following documents. So all things related to James Biden, all things related to Lion Hall. So it's going to be everything, okay? Whatever they're asking for, and I really wish we knew where this was going specifically. Like, is it a bank? Is it a person? Is it a lawyer? What bank? What person? What lawyer? It's very obscure, right? They just say it's related to their records. Now, wherever it's going, we're going to see that there are a lot of things that they're asking for. Like, are they asking Hunter's legal team to prepare this and James's legal team to prepare this? Are they asking the banks to prepare this? Are they asking Hunter and James themselves personally? But here, right, we've got a bunch of stuff. So debit cards, cashier checks, wire transfers, electronic transfer payments, CC numbers, signature cards, copies of IDs, anything, any account closing documents. What makes me think this is going to a bank is because they're saying, like, your due diligence documents, right? Like, what did you do on your end to do your due diligence? KYC is know your customer, know your client. So I think these are going to banks now. For business accounts, any other corporate identification documents. So it looks like these are going to the banks. Dear Mr. So-and-so, certain financial records in this entity's possession, custody, or control. We're seeking records related to Hunter Biden's part of the investigation. The same thing here, as detailed, very much the same letter. Look, another subpoena. Who is that going to? Must be banks. Same thing here. In another bank or entity, all the documents, yeah, here it is, that are in the bank's possession. That's what it is. They're going to banks. So this is Robert Hunter Biden. So they didn't actually get subpoenaed. The banks got subpoenaed. And this is what Comer said, though. We will continue to follow the money. We will continue to provide answers and transparency. All right. So anyways, they're going to the banks. Recently, I thought he's already done this. He subpoenaed and obtained 2 bank wires revealing Hunter Biden Bank received payments originating from Chinese nationals. Yeah, the bank subpoenas. Okay. Anyways, my friend. So that's what's going out. Now, this is a little bit weird to me. Like, I understand why they don't want the banks to be made public, but he kind of is making it sound like he subpoenaed them, not their banks, is the way that I was reading that originally. But he's not doing that at all, right? He's not subpoenaing Hunter or James. He's just going after their bank records, which I still think is a good thing. It's less exciting than I thought this was at the start of this segment, but I still think it is very fruitful because I think this is where they're going to find the fruits. All of the evidence really is going to be in the bank records. Like, the bank accounts are going to be the gold bars, to use the Menendez analogy. The Menendez analogy, he had gold bars. You know, this is happening in LLCs and bank accounts. Now, Hunter did get other things. He got diamond rings, he got sports cars and other stuff like this. But yeah, this was a little bit, you know, a little curious there. Anyways, the point is there is a lot of evidence on this one. And this came over from the Wall Street Journal. And they tell us that this thing goes pretty deep. They say how Joe Biden's kin profited off the family name. They say the big guy is calling me. And here's the story. During 5 decades in public office, they say Biden has built his political brand on the working class roots. And over that time, members of his family capitalized on his political success and they got millions of dollars. Now, they did their own examination here, the Wall Street Journal, and they say that certain family members and their year-long pattern of trading on the powerful name is at the center of this impeachment inquiry. They've denounced the inquiry, but the Journal's examination of the Biden relatives' dealings didn't turn up evidence that he benefited from the enterprise, but at least a few occasions before his presidency, Joe Biden was more present in his family business dealings than he or they have acknowledged. Of course he was. They were talking about the weather. And let's see, do they have this little diagram for us? Yeah, they have this little family tree. All right, Biden is the oldest of 4 siblings. His brother, James Biden, along with his son, they built Chinese oil company ties. They ran a hedge fund. James also worked for the firm attempting to build homes in Iraq. Youngest brother, Francis Biden, sometimes interrupted meetings by saying he had to take a call from the big guy, right? The younger brother, Francis Biden. A Florida-based law firm that employs Francis ran a newspaper ad trumpeting its relationship with the president's brother, an episode that drew a White House rebuke, right? Everybody's latching on to him. Hunter developed overseas relationships. Burisma paid him $1 million a year for nothing. family members would take phone calls from Joe Biden during their meetings, a practice that many was interpreted by some who witnessed it as an attempt to show off the connection, right? He would just call. The conversations that involved Joe were largely limited to pleasantries, according to those around him. But it is true that he had regular calls with his family members to check in. There aren't rules that prevent politically connected families from using their name, but that's not exactly all they were doing. Here at Times, business partners were ultimately disappointed when the Biden name failed to unlock certain things, and a spokesman for everybody says, we haven't done anything inappropriate, right? But they all were in on it. The whole thing is just gross. Very, very extensive. So here's James Comer giving us some more information, some more background on what they've done with these subpoenas.
James Comer, let's go over the evidence, and there's a lot of it. To sum up, the biggest evidence that you and your committee, and you had a great couple of lines in an opening statement today that I think everybody needs to see, talking about the bank records. Tell everybody watching right now, what evidence do you have?
We have bank wires that show that Biden's took $20 million from foreign nationals in at least 5 different countries. They can't say one thing they did to earn that $20 million. We also have evidence that they started 20 shell companies. They used these shell companies to receive the wires from the foreign nationals. And then, according to the banks, in the 170 different suspicious activity reports, those were the bank violations, they then took those wires through the shell companies and laundered them down to the Biden family, to 9 different Biden family members in incremental payments. That shows money laundering. That shows a lot of problems with respect to influence peddling. And it's interesting, Sean, in your monologue, you showed the clip from Dan Goldman. He admitted that the Biden family was influence peddling, and he admitted that Joe Biden lied. You know, that was really the basis for our first hearing, to justify why we're going to impeachment inquiry and to prove that Joe Biden lied over a dozen times about his knowledge and involvement in his family's business schemes, and to prove that this family was influence peddling. And I think every American has a problem with the fact that our president's family was selling access to him to our enemies around the world.
All right, so we have Shell Corporation.
Just talking about the weather.
Go north of maybe $50 million for the Bidens alone?
Well, we've got to get to Jim Biden, and that's why today signed the subpoenas to subpoena Jim Biden's personal bank accounts. He's flown under the radar because, quite frankly, he didn't leave a laptop laying around. But we know from people we've talked to, from evidence in emails and text messages, that he too was just as involved as Hunter. Byron Donald showed that text message today from Jim Biden to Hunter Biden when Hunter was going to rehab again. He said, don't worry, I'll work with your dad. We'll finish those deals. I mean, there's overwhelming evidence that Joe Biden was involved in all of these shady business schemes. That's a problem. Yeah. That's a threat to our national security. And today we rehashed and went over all the different items of evidence, and we announced the subpoenas. We're going to continue to move forward and follow the money.
Jason.
All right, we'll see if they get anything. So those went out to banks, not to James and Hunter, and they're going to their banks first. They're not asking them to get anything. And we'll continue to cover this. We're just getting started. I think once the bank records start to unpack, we'll see where the connections really come into play. And there'll be a lot of litigation over this. We'll continue to cover, my friends. Thank you for subscribing and joining us. Thank you for going to robertgovea.com, signing up for our daily newsletter so you never miss anything that we talk about here. Get it all delivered to your inbox, and we'll look forward to seeing you on the next one.